Today we talk about the ongoing debate about renting versus buying. What drives me nuts is so many people out there are just trying to tell you what they want to tell you because so many people care about the money in their pocket and not the well-being of you. And this is why I do the videos, because I want you to hear both sides, the pros and cons to everything. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, it comes down to two things. It comes down to timing, and it comes down what's best for your fit at that time. Okay. Everyone's different, and there really is no right or wrong. It's what's best for you and timing. So let's kind of go over a couple of simple facts. When you buy a house, in the beginning years, most of the money that you're paying to your mortgage is going towards interest anyway. So when people say, oh, you're throwing away money when you rent, your money's going to your landlord. When you buy, almost all of it's going towards interest. So you're almost doing nothing with your money in the beginning. But you say, yeah, but you're building equity. Yeah, in certain cases, when you buy a house, if the market goes up, yeah, you're building a little bit of equity. But what happens when the market is going down and you're losing equity? No one ever talks about that, right? I never heard agents talk about that. They only talk about you're losing money. Look, at the end of the day, renting and buying have pros and cons, and that's what this video is for. So I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to make examples. Here's a perfect example where renting is 1,000 times better. The year is 2023, and we had a client that wasn't ready to buy. So they rented in an area in Riverview that they wanted to see if they wanted to live. At that moment, the prices in this small little niche area were going about $320. Now, I know people that were buying for $320. Well, funny enough, 2 to 3 years later, and you could say, oh, they spent all this money wasting money. Well, all the people that bought a couple years before were throwing away their money towards interest, right? Those same units, because someone asked me to sell it, are going for $270 right now. So the one that sold, I remember, was $330, $270. It's a $60,000 difference, right? So now the person that rented, they're going to buy, they're getting a $60,000 discount from what the person bought 3 years ago. So the person that rented got a huge discount. And it doesn't matter if their money went towards the landlord, because the people that bought in 2023, their money just went to interest. And it's not like they have any equity right now. So hear me out here. The people that bought in 2023 in this area, if they want to sell, they either have no equity to sell and have to come out of pocket to sell, or if they put enough money down, they can barely get by. So that's where I'm saying timing is best. But then you can flip it and you can say, well, anybody that bought in 2018 or 2019 hit a home run because they bought right before that COVID blast, refied their house, and got a phenomenal interest rate. And everybody else that rented and decided to buy afterwards got killed on those prices, 1,000%. Again, timing comes into play, right? But all you ever hear is that time, right? You only hear like, oh, if I bought in 2018 and you shouldn't have rented, blah, blah, blah. But they're not talking about now, the difference now in the last couple of years, right? Renting and buying is all about timing, because there's a lot of people right now, and they don't want to admit it, that are underwater from when they bought a couple years ago. So the people that rented and decided to buy are in a better situation, especially as incentives get better. So you imagine that you rented and then decided to buy. Now you're getting all this money towards closing costs, the rate buy down and everything else. You're in a way better situation. So that's where renting is better. And that could also be where renting is not. Okay. But what else? Well, let's talk about this. When you buy a house, you're now responsible for everything, right? So you could buy a house and then the AC can go, or the roof needs to be replaced. Things can happen like within the first year of you buying it, even after an inspection. Well, when you're renting, you don't have to worry about that, right? It's up to the landlord to fix everything, right? So now you have no obligations to fix anything. So you're actually saving money, not fixing anything. So that's a plus, right? Yeah, you could say, oh, some of these landlords are horrible, there's corporations, but that's not the point. I'm just saying the ease that you have to go, great. Okay, but what's the negative? Well, the negative is When you own a house, you don't have to worry about someone selling it from underneath you. But when you're renting a house, maybe the landlord doesn't want to renew the lease and then they have to sell. So that's the con, right? Yeah, that can stink. Unless you have some like sort of rent control or 10-year lease. Yeah, it's the worry of, oh man, when's if they want to sell? I get it. That is a con. But the pro is that when you are renting, you have no financial, loss in the sense of anything that happens to the property. Now, what else can you talk about? Well, isn't it awesome if you rent and you can kind of go where you want to go and you can just leave whenever you want to leave and you don't have to worry about a bank saying you owe this and you have to? Or let's talk about this. In a negative market where the market is going down, you can leave and go rent somewhere else. But a person can't just sell. So if someone's stuck and they go, oh my God, I'm negative equity right now. Unless I come out of pocket $20,000, $30,000 to sell, I'm stuck. Not the person that's renting. The person that's renting doesn't have to worry about that. So when you're looking at something where it's like renting and buying, you have to look at both variables, both pros and cons, to say what's the best for me, not what's the best for the agent or anybody else out there that thinks, this social media nonsense that everyone thinks they know everything about everything drives me nuts, because there's pros and cons to everything. And it's all about timing and what's best for you. I think rentals are phenomenal in the right situation. I think buying is phenomenal in the right situation, right? We could talk about this all day. Especially if you're, a young guy, young girl, and you buy a property, your first property, and you start renting out bedrooms to your friends, that's a home run, right? You get a house, you rent out bedrooms to your friends, it's a home run. It's better than renting. Let them rent and you collect the money. That's phenomenal. When I first moved to Tampa many years ago, I got a rental that was so cheap compared to living in New York that I was like, this is great. I'll just rent. And it was like $600. Those days are long gone, but it was amazing. So for me, renting was better because I got to explore Tampa. And for the first 3 years, I rented, then I went somewhere else, then I went somewhere else. And it was like $600. So I just don't like when people have all these one-sided things. And this is why I do these videos. And I want you guys to comment and tell me what your pros and cons are to everything, because this is what these videos are for. It's for you guys to come in and also give your opinions. So anything you want to learn, let me know. I'm going to be doing videos constantly. I love doing this stuff. I love helping people out. Any questions you have, the Kerin Group here for all your real estate needs.